Hey guys, welcome back to the human condition. Um, in this video, I'm talking about a really cool concept called, it is going to be called, the title of this video is going to be called, what is sociocultural psychology and how does it influence us? So basically, this is another psychology video, so this video is going to be about sociocultural theory. It's kind of like a theme, if you've seen my other psychology videos, it's kind of like it goes cognitive psychology, behavioralism, psychodynamics, humanistic, and this one will be the sixth school of thought, sociocultural. So yeah, but before we get into that, I want to start off by saying thank you guys again so much for all the support of my recent videos. You guys really like my Harry Potter video, so thank you for watching that, checking that out. And you guys seem to really like my biology brain chemical videos, so I'm gonna keep doing those definitely, for different TV shows and movies. So yeah, in this video, there's four main concepts we'll talk about. There's Leo Volkowski sociocultural theory. There's social learning theory, social cognition, and social or cultural psychology. Those are the four aspects of sociocultural psychology. I'll talk about a little bit about those principles of psychology. I'll talk about a little bit of my opinions on how sociocultural psychology affects us, like I did in my last videos. So yeah, in my first one for the series, I ranked them on they're all equally important, but on ones I believe that influence us the most versus the ones that influence us the least. So I did cognitive, then I did physiological, like brain chemicals, because brain chemicals affect the way we think, and basically the way that we think affects all the other schools of thought. And then I did cognitive because cognitive is what we think about, and behavioralism is our habits. So we usually think before we make our habits, so that's why I rank cognitive as 2. Behavioralism is our habits every day, the things that we do like almost subconsciously that we don't even think about, like brushing your teeth, just like habits you do every day. Going to work, maybe like a 9 to 5, you just get up every day, get ready, go, that's like behavioralism. Then you got psychodynamics, is deep emotional states, like a relationship with our family, our past, or like family. So I rank that as 4 because even though it's very important and it kind of sometimes can affect your cognitive state, so I kind of probably should have ranked it higher. It does. I feel like sometimes you can think before you feel. Sometimes, not all the time, but if your like logical side can sometimes override your emotional side, and sometimes in life. So that's why I ranked the cognitive side higher. 5 is humanistic, and that's the one I said about the support group and the how we decide our goals is often because we tell the people around us after we achieved a goal, oh, I did this, and they're like, oh, you shouldn't have done that, or we'd ask them before we do a goal and they tell us, oh, yeah, that's a good idea to do the goals, like our support group, and those are the people that support us, and that makes us feel comfortable with chasing our goals or not chasing our goals, if that makes sense. They also can influence us a little bit on what goals we want to achieve, but that's more of today's topic, sociocultural psychology. And that's number 6, sociocultural psychology. So what is sociocultural psychology and how does it influence us? Sociocultural psychology, at least in my opinion, is I ranked it 6 because it's basically almost like our role models in life, the people we look up to, the people we aspire to be like, whether that be a professional doctor, whatever job career you have, the person that's really good at it, and the person you want to achieve to be like, whether that be a lawyer, really good doctor, YouTuber, anything. That's basically sociocultural, is how these people in our lives influence us, for better or for worse. So just think about the people in your life that influence you, and this would be a good example of sociocultural. And typically, think about the people that are not necessarily in your support group, the like humanistic psychology. It's the people that you see only every once in a while, whether it be like a social media influencer, whether that be like someone on TV, or just someone like a teacher, or like someone that has a profession that you don't see a ton, that is not actively in your support group. This would be a good example of sociocultural psychology based on how they influence you to chase goals. So yeah, people that are outside your support group, but they also influence you so much. And it can also be the people that influence you in your support group, but more so the ones outside of it, at least in my opinion. But within regards to the theories, there's Leo Vukowski's sociocultural theory, and that has 3 concepts in it. There's a one called zone of proximal development, and this is what we can achieve, is the zone of what we can achieve by ourselves, and what we need to achieve based on the help of someone else. So the best way I can think about this is, let's say if you're trying, like you have like a kid, right, and they don't know how to tie their shoes. The zone of proximal development, let's say they know how to make the bunny loop, but they don't know how to finish the shoe, tying it. The zone of proximal development would say, oh, they at least know how to make the bunny loop, but the guidance part of it is they need your help to finish tying the shoe. And scaffolding takes that and uses it. For example, you know that about your kid, right? So then you'd be like, okay, I'm gonna tie you tied the bunny rope. I won't do that for you, and then I'll finish tying the shoe. Scaffolding. And the third aspect of this theory is MKO, which stands for more knowledgeable other, or more knowledgeable, or MKP, more knowledgeable person. That's kind of like a brutal term for it, but it just means like if you're in something new that you just started out, it's taking advice from people that's been done it a lot is not a bad thing, and they can really help you, show you the ropes, whatever that may be, and the importance of learning through other people. Another aspect is social learning theory, and this is basically the theory that we become kind of like, have you heard the saying, we're the average of the 5 people we hang around the most? Basically, this one is we learn from other people around us, everyone around us, and we even take on characteristics of other people. So our personalities are even shaped by the people we hang around. So this is a pretty cool theory to think about. And it just shows that knowledge in this idea, they think all cognitive knowledges come from learning through other people rather than thinking on your own. Whereas that's opposite of cognitive theory, which thinks you learn from just thinking on your own. But I think there's a combination of both that can be played out in life. There's a combination of both. Language is also very important because, for example, that's another thing that kind of proves the point of sociocultural theory, is that language is something you pick up from other people, not something you just come up on your own. And that's the key of sociocultural theory, is does all knowledge come from just picking up on other people, or do we come up with our own knowledge? And that kind of is the question of it. And language is a big part of it, because language is something that's been passed on through generations and generations and generations, and hasn't changed that much. Maybe a little bit, but not too much. Social cognition. 3 things are social appraisal. Don't quote me on that. I know it's appraisal something. Social appraisal or cognitive appraisal. Social comparison, and self-perception. That's what it was. And basically, in social cognition, this is the 4th one. We try to explain why people behave the way they do, because logically in life it's hard to understand sometimes why people do what they do. So everyone has a mindset of trying to explain what other people do, and this is social appraisal within social cognition theory. And then there's social social self-perception, how we perceive our characteristics and ourselves. And then there's social comparison, and this is the biggest impact on personality and a goal setting for this one. And this is seeing other people that you aspire to be like, kind of like the defense mechanism video, identification, wanting to identify with someone. This is social comparison. Also, introjection, seeing the knowledge they have and all the characteristics and taking those on as yours is a good example of social comparison within sociocultural psychology. So yeah, that's cultural psychology. Inclusion, it's basically learning comes from other people a lot of times, using like scaffolding, helping people with knowledge they already have and growing as a person. Personality traits also come from the people that we surround ourselves with highly too, as well as people that we look up to, like our role models. And cultural, this is one I forgot to talk about. Cultural is basically your environment. So it also suggested that you take on the traits of your environment based on the relationship you had with your environment. So, for example, if you had a good relationship with your environment, you're more likely to take on those traits. Whereas if you didn't have a good relationship with your environment growing up, you might do the exact opposite of embodying the exact opposite of those traits, even if sometimes you agree with a certain trait or disagree just because your relationship with your environment wasn't the best, or was really good, you'll agree with it regardless. That's another thing about it. So yeah, those are the 4 aspects of sociocultural theory. Sociocultural theory itself, social cognition, social learning theory, and cultural psychology, all encapsulate that school of thought. And yeah, it's really cool to see that how it's and the reason I ranked this as the lowest one is even though I think it's really important, not the lowest, the second lowest one, they're all equally important, but I feel like it doesn't affect us quite as much as all the other schools of thought talked about, like humanistic, because even though other people influence the way we think, right, we can still think for ourselves, and that's why I put cognitive as number 1. And we still can have our own habits without other people wanting, like, they can mess it up sometimes, but we'll still keep those habits. 3, psychodynamics. Our deep emotional states that came from when we were young aren't going to change regardless of the people we influence each other with. That much, a little bit, at least. 5, humanistic. Our support group and our goals. This is probably the one that impacts us the most. If we have a strong support group, the people that outside that influence us still aren't going to influence us as much as the support group that helps us with our goals. And that's why we got to 6, sociocultural, the people that we look up to and our role models, basically. And typically the ones, they can be in our support group, but typically I'm talking, like, in this regard, the people that are not in our support group. So yeah, this was what is sociocultural theory and how does it influence us. Sociocultural psychology and how does it influence us. I hope you guys liked this video. And my next video will probably be another philosophy video, so stay tuned for that. But thanks again for watching. As always, thanks again for watching. Like, subscribe if you want. I love you guys, and I'll see you in the next one.